Yeah, it has. Seems like all of us got off to a slow start. Obviously, some of us slower than others, but we've had some moments where we were really strong, but just not putting the races together, and then the last few weeks just seeing Jimmy get that win at Darlington, and then Casey last week, and our car was really strong last week as well. So I hope there's more of that to come. I mean, my car felt really good here today too. So we definitely are working in the right direction with our setups right now.
We'll open up for questions for Jeff. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start up front here with Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Can you talk about the first time you came to Dover and had to master that monster turn and drop off, and what it felt like the first time, and also mention about being back in the Lucky DuPont uniform this weekend?
Lucky, let's hope so. Let's see. I can't remember, Claire. It was so long ago because I ran a nationwide car here, I guess, first, back in 91. I was driving for Bill Davis at the time. They really ran well here in a car. I remember a car got through the corner really well. There's just no comparing this place. It's just unlike any other track you'll ever go to. I ran some very high bank fast racetracks in the midgets and sprint cars prior to coming into NASCAR, and even those tracks don't really drop, prepare you for how you drop into the banking here. It's a very unique place. I know it's one that I enjoyed right away just because I like a big, fast, challenging racetrack like this, and we've always had pretty good success here. So it certainly was a track that I liked right away. I think it used to be pavement when I drove here back in '91. So that certainly has changed things a lot. The concrete.
Okay, we'll take our next question in the back right from Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from SBNation.com. Can you hear me? Yeah? Christy, can you hear me?
Yeah, speak up just a little bit,
Okay.
Jeff. Can you see him at the back?
Sorry, I couldn't hear myself. Having problems today, I guess. Anyway, Casey Kane has had a big turnaround in the points. Obviously your teammate. So given your close proximity to him and his team, do you at all look at that and say, you know what, if they can do it, we're capable of getting back in, top 10 contention at all, or at least, having a resurgence here? Or are you, do you just choose to focus on your own team and improving and not really look at them as
well?
much?
Our reason for not being in the top 10 has nothing to do with the way that we've been finishing, or, the way we've been running during the races. It's the way we've been finishing. There's nothing that no information you get from your teammates is going to stop you from having a blown tire at Darlington and, the cut tire at Bristol and the blown engine at Kansas. So, for us, we are always sharing information with our teammates and trying to get better. And when they have a good weekend, like Jimmy had in Darlington, Jimmy had at the All-Star race, Casey Kane, in the 600, then we're definitely paying attention and learning from it. Like I said, our car, I had one of the best cars I've ever had in the 600 this past week. Unfortunately, we had to pass about 50 cars to get there, to that 7th place finish, just because we got caught, out on the green flag stop there, and that got us way behind. And then, we all knew that the 2-tire stop was a risky stop there at the end because we were the last one on 2 tires, so that didn't work out either, but we really rebounded with that last run. But we're running good enough to certainly be in the top 10 in points. To get that resurgence, we just have to start continuing to put finishes together just like we did last week, and I think we're capable of getting some wins before this chase, and hopefully we get enough to get us into it.
Additional questions for Jeff? Raise your hand and we'll take one right up here in front, then we'll go back to Bob. Right here.
Jeff, Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times of Pennsylvania. Can you talk a little bit about when you win a race and then you go back the following year, in comparison to next week you're the defending champion of that race at Pocono, but it's a whole different animal with the changes that they made, the repaved surface, 400 miles. Can you kind of talk a little bit about your mindset going in? Even though you're the defending champion, it's that whole different animal.
Yeah, I definitely not thinking about being the defending champion of that race at all, just because there's nothing to compare to with a repave. I think there's very little that we're probably going to have in our setup that would compare to what we had there last year. I think no matter what, Pocono is going to have similar challenges just because the shape of the and the banking of the turns haven't changed. It's just how much grip level it's going to have and how aggressive and the smoothness of the track. So how aggressive you're going to be able to get with getting the car sealed down to the racetrack, and then just how aggressive you're going to be driving the car. So those types of things I think will still play out, and if you like that track and you run good at that track, then that can still be beneficial to us. But I think that's going to be about 10-15% of what we're going to have to do to win there this time. So there's really no comparison. And even when a track doesn't change, tires change a little bit, just like this race. Tires are Goodyear brought different tires, and the track is acting a lot different, and it's got a lot of grip. It's really fast, and you gotta adapt your setup. If nothing changed at all, not tires or anything, the same setup you had a year ago probably won't even be good enough. If you dominated the race, it wouldn't be good enough. That's just the competition. That's just how the sport evolves every year.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Bob, then come over to Mark, and then Dick.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. In this kind of stretch of clean and green racing that's been going on the last couple of months, one of the theories now being talked about is that guys are just being more cautious because of the potential damage to the points if you wreck. I'm curious if you've seen any difference.
I'd love to know which driver said that.
Hamlin.
I don't know why any driver is saying that, because I don't see that. I just think guys are racing smarter, and when I look back at through the years of my experiences in this sport, there's just been certain drivers that you always seem to see in cautions, and I think with the quality of the drivers and the way that they're using their heads, the cars certainly have a lot of grip in them, so they don't get out of shape maybe quite as much as they used to. But to me, there's plenty of side-by-side racing last week and opportunities for wrecks to happen, and they didn't happen. So I don't think it's – I know it wasn't for me being cautious. I wasn't being very cautious. And I can certainly tell you we're not points racing. So maybe Hamlin is, and maybe that's contributing to that. But that's certainly not the case. Not where we're at. And I think that's the case. Is throughout the field, there's guys that are in position to be more aggressive, and other guys are in position to be less aggressive. But I don't see where that's any different than 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or throughout the history of the sport.
Go ahead with your question, Mark.
Okay. Mark Allman, NASCAR.com. I'm going to ask you to go back in the Wayback Machine again. This used to be a stretch of races where you ran 600 miles at Charlotte. You did 500 here, 500 at Pocono, and 400 at Michigan. Can you describe what it was like back then to get through this this group of races, and what it was like to run 500 miles at Dover?
Well, the only thing that's changed is, the cars are stuck better. We're running faster laps throughout the race, so we're actually it's more demanding now than it used to be. The difference is that we've got these cool systems and better ways to hydrate. We've gotten smarter on the physical side of it, probably working out more, and so we're I think the drivers are just in a little bit better physical shape than what they used to be as far as preparing for the races. But so if it was hot, then those races certainly could get long and be an issue. But you didn't drive the cars as hard either, so you really had to just pace yourself. The cars limit was just so much less that a lot of times you were getting top 5s, top 10s, sometimes even wins based on attrition, based on being patient, based on not overdriving the car. Now, if you don't push the car to the extreme and overdrive it, you're probably, you're not going to find yourself in a position to win. We're not seeing as much attrition as we used to, so you because of that, you don't pace yourself. You just push as hard as you can, and from that side of it, then it's working your body a lot harder. So, I think it kind of all balances itself out.